Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I thought I'd bring you guys yet another deck profile, this time post-White Dragon Abyss. I know I'm a little late on that because, I've been pretty busy all week long. It's actually been a really tiresome week with work and school, and I'm trying to catch up on assignments. So I thought I'd do an update on my Blue Eyes White Dragon deck with the new Blue Eyes Solid Dragon now. Unfortunately, I cannot get my hands on Bingo Machine Go. That card's just way too expensive. I mean, what the fuck? 40 bucks for like one copy of it? Hell no. So this one's slightly cheaper, just go with trade-in. Honestly, Bingo Machine is a great card. Don't get me wrong, I love the card. I love what it does, but to me, it's not necessarily needed. It just acts as a pantheism for the Blue Eyes deck. And yeah, it's a good way to search out your Blue Eyes, but you might as well just keep playing Melody of the Awakening Dragon and trade-in. I mean, the Blue Eyes itself just gets its advantages better with the graveyard anyway. So, anyway, I just thought I'd share you guys with how I built my Blue Eyes now with some slight changes, especially on the side deck. And hopefully you guys enjoy this. So, let's get started. So starting off, you're going to be playing, of course, 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon. That's standard. Gotta run it at 3. Still one of the strongest normal monsters, in my opinion. 3 alternatives. Also standard. Reveal the original Blue Eyes to get a free summon on this card. And it counts as Blue Eyes White Dragon while it's on the field and in the graveyard. So, and as long as you properly summon it, you can revive it. So, yeah, great card. I definitely love it. Next up, only 1 Dragon Spirit of White now, just because, I had to make room for the Blue Eye Solid Dragon, but you don't have to do it this way. You can still run it at 2 if you like to. But I felt like just 1 was enough, just because, half the time if you draw into it, it's kind of a dead draw anyway, and you don't really want to see it in opening hand, so that's why trade-in was kind of a thing with it. But it counts as a normal type while it's in graveyard, so it's an easy target for cards like Return of the Dragon Lords, or Silver Scry, or even Dragon Shrine, Now moving on to our newest addition, Blue Eyes Solid Dragon, and I feel like this card was great. A lot of people don't see its potential all the way entirely. I personally think it's a great card. It's an optional choice in my opinion. It's a great card overall. I like what it can really do. Just like if you special summon or normal summon this card, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and just note that this is a permanent negation. It does not wear off. And when your opponent activates our card or an effect, you can quick effect shuffle this card from your field back into your deck, and if you do, special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck. So it's a good way to get easy access to your normal Blue Eyes White Dragons as well. And the best part about Blue Eyes White Dragon, the original, is that card, let's say you're up against Sky Strikers. It can't be hit with Widow Anchor. Widow Anchor only works on effect monsters. It will not work on the normal Blue Eyes. So that's why I feel like Solid Dragon is definitely a much needed card, and the fact that it permanently negates can really devastate your opponent, big time. So that's why I feel like Solid Dragon is definitely a nice addition. Now as far as insurance goes, I decided to keep running the 1 Cyber Dragon. I like to go this route just because, if I'm up against a deck that happens to be able to extra link you, at least I'm well prepared ahead of time. So Cyber Dragon is a good way to, summon out your free Mega Fleet, and plus against mirror matches, or not mirror matches, but against a Cyber Dragon matchup, and Cyber Dragon is a fairly common rogue deck to play against right now, you definitely want to steal their Cyber Dragons to make your Mega Fleet for free, So that's why I like to run the Cyber Dragon route. And that's pretty much it for the main boss monsters. And plus against Extra Link, they give you that ability to distribute away and get Cyber Dragon out. So moving on, we got 3 White Stone of Ancients. Amazing card. And this special summons your Dragon Spirit White, your Solid Dragon, and your Blue Eyes White Dragon. And Solid Dragon it's the fact that it shuffles itself back into the deck. You have constant special summon fodder with White Stone of Ancients. So that's why I feel like Solid Dragon was definitely a great addition, comboing off with the Stone of Ancients. It also works well with Sage as well. So next up, you got the White Stone of Legend, which I like to use quite a lot actually, just to bait out cards like Ash Blossom or even Jordan Lockbird, So yeah, White Stone of Legend is definitely one of the best cards in the deck, just because if it's pitched, you could add a free Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand. Moving on, running 3 copies of Sage. I still like to run the original Ultra Rare, of course the 2 secrets, but I kind of like the Ultra Rare a little bit more for some reason. I don't know, I guess it's just for nostalgic purposes. But when this card is normal summon, you can add any 1 light attribute tuner, level 1 by the way, and you could search out your effect veiler as well. And if you can discard this card from your hand, then target 1 effect monster, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 Blue Eyes from your deck. So also another good card to special summon all your Blue Eyes monsters. Next up, we got the 1 Glow Bulb, which I like to use to make out my Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. It's real easy to bring out in this deck. It's just It's just great. So that's why I like to run the one glow bulb option, you know. And plus, like, if you mill the top card and happen to be a Stone of Ancients, hey, that's just more luck to you. Alright, so I bumped up my hand trap count to 5 now instead of 4 as I had it before. Some say that's something that's still like a low number, but Effect Veiler searchable, as I mentioned. But we're going to start off first with 2 copies of Ash Blossom, which in many ways is still one of the better hand traps. You can run 3 Ghost Ogres if you prefer. And honestly, I feel like Ghost Ogre is definitely upped its ante a little bit more in this format because it's just really good at clearing boards. So if you don't have access to Ash, get yourself some Ogres instead. Or Drone Lockbirds is also a good card. But if anything, definitely go for Ogre. So, yeah, Ash is still a great card. I like to run that one a little bit more than Ogre right now. And of course, 2 Effect Veilers. Bumped it up to 2 now just because, you know, it's searchable. And plus, I'm not main decking Master anymore, so I'm not doing my infinite loop where I can recycle it anymore. And plus, if it gets hit with Called by the Grave, that kind of loses Effect Veiler entirely. So that's why I felt like 2 was a better option. And it's not once per turn, so like if someone Called by the Grave the first one, you can immediately chain the second one if you have it already in your hand. Alright, so now we're moving on to spells. Gonna go with 3 melodies, you know, standard. Helps you grab your blue, ice, white dragons faster. Trade in, again, if I don't have access to Bingo Machine Go, it's too expensive. I still feel like trade in is a great option. It's way cheaper compared to that card. So, and I don't feel like it's a necessary card to run. So, yeah, Bingo Machine, great card, as I mentioned, but I still prefer trade in over that card because, you know, you still want to be able to plus a little bit more. Next up, Return of the Dragon Lords. Gotta run it at 3. You got plenty of level 8s, especially Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. If that card leaves the field at any given point, you can revive it with Return of the Dragon Lords. And considering that we have normal monsters, we have 2 copies of Silver Scry. So that's why I felt like that's where it really needs it. And to deal with like floodgates, because like there are cards that will hurt you, like Anti-Spell Fragrance, Imperial Order, or even well, actually I wouldn't say Skill Drain, because like you could still tag out and still be able to summon, but the monster you try to summon will probably just lose its effects entirely. So just gotta be careful with that. But yeah, Twin Twisters. Oh, and it's also a good matchup against Ultrageist too, because you know you want to be able to get rid of their trap cards. So Twin Twisters, I'd definitely like to run it at 2, and plus you want to be able to pitch your Stones of Ancients if they're in your hand. Moving on, you got 1 Dragon Shrine. I don't like 2, just because like it just got situational at 2, and 1 is enough. And plus, you want to bait out Ash, as I mentioned. You know, those are the kind of cards you want to get rid of. But it's plus, if you had 2 Dragon Shrines, there were times I opened up with 2 of them, and even if it didn't get hit with a hand trap, it became a dead card. So that's why I decided to replace the other with Foolish Burial. Definitely a great card. Next up, we got 1 for 1. Standard, you know, you want to get your level 1 tuners out as quickly as you can. Monster Reborn. And then finally, Soul Charge. Helps you get into like really excellent link plays like Summon Sorceress, Boral Guard Dragon, and yeah, just basically standard stuff. Speaking of which, let's go into the extra deck now. So starting off, you're going to be running Summon Sorceress. Amazing card. This helps you get to easy Synchro and Xyz plays if summoned. Just be careful. Just watch out for those Ghost Ogres, because again, we're seeing that a lot more now, and if that Summon Sorceress gets hit, you pretty much just lost your combo right there. 1 Hit Potion again, just to give all my light attribute monsters a big power boost. So Hit Potion again, definitely a great card, and plus if it gets destroyed, you can add 1 light attribute monster from your graveyard back to your hand. I'm sorry. So like you can also restore your Effect Veilers this way. 1 Linkuriboh, which synergizes so well with this deck, because you know, like if you normal summon Sage back then, like that was a problem, because like you really like you can get into a synchro play, yeah, but if you couldn't summon anything, then your Sage just becomes a sitting duck. But now that Linkuriboh is a thing, you could definitely just get rid of it and just have something to protect yourself. And the last of our Link monsters is Boral Guard Dragon. I was thinking about taking him off, but I felt like he still could do plenty for me. The fact that he can also change battle positions to face-up defense mode. It's still a great card, and it's a 3k beats deck. You don't have to use its first effect. Honestly, like I hardly use its first effect, where you send one spell or trap card from to the graveyard, special summon 1 monster from either graveyard. I don't know, I just didn't really find that effect too necessary, but the fact that it has a similar effect to Boral Sword Dragon, I felt like it was good, definitely a good choice. Moving on, we got 2 copies of Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. Gotta have it, you know, just because, you know, you have 2 targets, Black Rose Moonlight Dragon and Azure Silver Dragon, which would come here, which helps you revive your normal monsters during your standby phase, and plus it gives your monsters a layer of protection for 2 turns. Moving on, we got Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, which if it's special summon, you can bounce back 1 monster your opponent controls. but we don't usually keep it for long because we just use it to go straight into Crystal Wing's Synchro Dragon, and that's why Glow Bulb was definitely a necessary aspect. We're running Twin Burst Dragon just because, doesn't require polymerization, just contact fusion, and plus it can't be destroyed in battle. And if it fails to destroy a monster in battle, you could automatically banish that monster from the game. And of course, to go with our Cyber Dragon, we got Mega Fleet Dragon. Gotta have it. We're only running 4 XCs. I decided to take off Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon just because I didn't really find much use of it. And plus, to get into Dark Matter, you can use any Galaxy Eyes monster that you're currently control. So, the one I decided to keep for sure is Tachyon Dragon. This is easily my favorite Galaxy Eyes monster. At the start of the battle phase, you can detach 1 Xyz material, negate all face-up card effects except itself, and also it can attack twice. And if your opponent activates a card effect, this card automatically gains 1,000 attack and defense points. So it's a good way to beat over powerhouse monsters. We're running 1 Galaxy Ice full armor photon dragon. Just you can pop cards and plus 4,000 attack. Can't really go wrong. Still going to be running the 1 Dark Matter Dragon just because, it helps you pitch your dragons to the graveyard a lot faster, and you definitely want to. And then finally, we're running 1 Hope Harbinger just because it's a great matchup against Sky Strikers because, it's basically just steals their spells, negates and steals the spells and adds it to its Xyz material count. So it's a good way to, And plus, it also has an ability where it can redirect attacks to itself. So that's why I feel like number 38 was definitely a great option. I highly recommend number 38, and it's way cheaper now, so definitely pick one up if you're planning on playing Blue Eyes. Alright, so let's go and get on to the side deck. So the side deck is very different now. I've made quite a few changes. So let's just start off with the basic monsters. So for the monsters, I decided to run back my favorite card, 2 copies of Maiden with Eyes Blue now. A lot of people don't like this. I feel like it's a great card, especially if you combo it off really well with Sage with Eyes of Blue, because that's 2 free Blue Eyes monsters, and your opponent is forced to either Ash or stop one of them, and Maiden can summon a Blue Eyes from anywhere, hand, deck, or graveyard. So it's a really hard card to really get around. I don't usually rely on its ability to where if it's attacked, switch it to defense mode, because that's kind of a problem, but I don't know, Maiden just has so much potential. I still feel like it definitely deserves its spot in the side at least. We're running 1 Master with Eyes of Blue. I don't rely on it as heavily as I used to, but it's still a good card. You might as well try to run it if you want to, but it's really all about personal preference. Running 1 Amorphage Goliath because, it's just to combo off with the Arcbreed Dragon, put our opponent on lockout. That way we can't access this extra deck too much. And it combos really well with Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon, so that's why I feel like these 2 cards on the side were definitely a good option. For the single spells, we're still running 1 Raigeki and 1 Dragon Revival Rhapsody. This is definitely a great card going first, and Raigeki, every now and then you go up against a dinosaur matchup, and you kind of I was like, uh-oh, dinosaurs. That's kind of a really hard matchup against Blue Eyes, so you kind of want to get rid of their big boss dinosaurs like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno and all that stuff. It's also good against True Dracos as well. Ultra Guys, if you can bait out, because they mostly rely on negating monster effects, so you definitely want to get rid of those kind of cards. So yeah. Running 2 copies of Called by the Grave. I don't like to main deck it anymore just because, it's at 2 now, and plus hand traps hardly hurt Blue Eyes as a whole anyway, so that's why I felt like it wasn't as necessary as it was the first time. But it's still a great card, don't get me wrong, I still love playing it. And it's a good way to, switch out. Another good card to run on the side is Night Beam, which is definitely great against Trickstars because you can definitely get rid of their cards like Trickstar Reincarnation, Scapegoat. You don't want them to activate that card, and Night Beam prevents them from activating the targeted card in response to this. So that's why I felt like Night Beam was definitely a good option. Now, another good card to run on the side that I felt was actually a good option, especially if you're playing for time, Spell Shattering Arrow. What this does is you destroy as many face-up spell cards your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent for each card. And cards like field spells, field spells are always a thing now. Field spells has become such a big thing. Spell Shattering Arrow I felt like was definitely a good choice to go with. There's also continuous cards, there's some decks that run continuous spells, and Sky Strikers, they use multi-roll, and sometimes that field spell they have. So you definitely want to pop those in. With Spell Shattering Arrow, you pretty much just won the game if you burn enough damage to them. So I felt like Spell Shattering Arrow was definitely a nice choice, but only a good first side, because it only works on spells, it doesn't work on traps. If it worked on traps too, that would be awesome, And finally, Forbidden Scripture. This card's just basically like Tachyon Dragon, where like if your monster battles an opponent's monster, during damage calculation, negate all other card effects, and all monsters are reverted back to their original attack and defense points, and they must battle in their original attack and defense points. So cards like Honest, Moonmere Shield, it's a good way to deal with that, and it's just a good way, you know, like every now and then you'll encounter a stun deck, and they'll rely too heavily on that Moonmere Shield. That's a good way to get rid of it, you know? So, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'll catch you guys again next time, and who knows, maybe I'll bring you guys a tutorial video on how to play this new version of Blue Eyes.